Three, two, one.
Welcome to the kickoff edition of the Fantasy Football Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to take a look at a few newsworthy things. We're going to share our Thursday night preview, Fox's game of the week, the fantasy football start and sit, my week one best bets, and of course, we'll end it with the movie corner. As always, I am joined by my partner here, Mr. Matthew Fox. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm excited that the games that count actually begin tonight.
Man, it's been a long time coming. I feel like we've talked about this season for so long. I mean, obviously we've been doing it for about 2.5, 3 months now, but we're finally here, and it's nice to be here so that we can discuss real football. We've got a lot of fun things planned for you guys, and there's some interesting things, especially at the quarterback position, that we're going to cover right off the bat with. So the big news of the week, obviously, is the Steelers' depth chart came out, and Mitchell Trubisky was named the starting quarterback. Matthew Fox, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's not a surprise to anyone that Trubisky is starting. I still think we'll end up seeing Kenny Pickett at some point this season. I'm not sold that the Steelers can keep Mike Tomlin's track record of never having a losing season alive. I think they'll try their best. I was excited to see Mitch get a second chance, and I hope he does well here. But it doesn't feel like exactly the great second chance I was hoping to see him get. But we'll see. He's played okay during preseason. They start off with a really tough matchup in Cincinnati. I don't think they're going to win that. But hopefully he'll look good. And more importantly, hopefully he keeps Deontay Johnson a viable starting fantasy asset.
Yeah, for me, I wasn't much surprised by it either. Trubisky got paid to be the starter, I think, at least year one. I do agree with you. Unless Trubisky comes out and rips off 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive wins, I think at some point we'll see Kenny Pickett in this season. I'm with you. I want to see him succeed. I do. I just deep down, I want to see him succeed. This is a second chance. I don't think he really got a fair shake in Chicago. I don't know if he has the ability to be that, but he did show some flashes in Chicago that kind of made him a viable starter. He does get to start over here. Mike Tomlin is kind of the guy that I think that he relies more on veterans, so it wasn't much of a shock to see him get the starting job. Kenny Pickett being number 3 didn't surprise me either. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't. I mean, Mason Rudolph is there, which look, I don't know why he's still there either. I mean, he's not a very good. We've seen enough of him that I don't, but at the same time, for some reason, he has some stranglehold on the number 2 position for this team. But with that being said, I don't really feel like, I really hope the Steelers come out in week 1 and win. I do. I would love to see Trubisky succeed in Pittsburgh. Speaking of quarterback news, we got the news that Zach Wilson is going to miss the first 4 games of the season. This wasn't much of a surprise to me because I feel like you're talking about your franchise quarterback that you want to make sure is healthy. There's no need to rush him out there. You're not going to the playoffs. You didn't have a chance to play, be a contending playoff team this year. I think it's kind of bad news though for when it comes to Zach Wilson because this guy, I don't know how long he's going to have to prove that he's going to be a capable franchise quarterback because you are in New York and they don't get many chances out there. But what are your thoughts on Zach Wilson's being out the first 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me. He missed a chunk of time last year. It seemed like it kind of set him back. I think it's also tough. This is an offense where we'd like to be all in for fantasy purposes. I mean, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson were 2 of the probably top 5 or 6 picks for everyone in every rookie draft. Are we going to see a really explosive pass offense with Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis and with Flacco back there? I mean, some people have tried to sell the revenge narrative for week 1 since he's playing Baltimore. I buy that for Baker. I'm not certain that I buy that for Joe Flacco. And I don't know what it means for their offense. I don't know what it means for the cohesion of this team. This is a team that I wanted to see take a little step forward. 4 games isn't a ton, but he obviously missed all the back end of training camp reps. He didn't really get to play in the preseason. what are we going to see from Zach Wilson when he's finally out there? There's a lot of pressure on him to take a step in year 2.
I totally agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk more about it later, my best bets. But sorry for the narrative, for the revenge narrative for Joe Flacco. But guys, it's the Baltimore Ravens, and it's not going to happen. So we mentioned talking about Thursday Night Football. We have real football. And not only do we have real football, we have a good football game in store for us. We have the defending Super Bowl champions, Los Angeles Rams, taking on the Buffalo Bills in what could be an explosive game or could be a 10-7 game. Who knows? It is a Thursday night game, but I'm excited to see what's in store. And Fox, what are your initial thoughts here when you're looking at the Bills? You're looking at this run game. You have Singletary, who looks like he has a hold of that running backfield, but he does have somebody like James Cook waiting in the wings there, trying to carve out a role in that offense as well. So what do you kind of expect from that offense tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling hopeful about Singletary. I obviously ended up with him in quite a few of our redraft leagues, unlike you, who just went 24/7 Titans. Your homeboys, your favorite local team. It was interesting to me when you're watching preseason, the player rotations and where they come in to the game. That tells you a little bit about where they are in the pecking order. And it was Singletary followed by Moss, followed by Cook. So I don't think Cook's even number 2. Is he going to get involved in the passing game and take away some opportunities for Singletary there? Is Moss actually back from the dead? You know, are we going to spend all day worrying about him only for him to be a healthy scratch at like 5 o'clock tonight? Nothing would surprise me. I thought Singletary looked great at the end of last year. He looked very good in the playoffs when he was given a healthy share of snaps. He looked very good in the preseason game that I watched when he came out with the starters too. If he's given an opportunity, I think he's got RB2 upside like he had last year.
Yeah, the thing about it is Buffalo needs to give him the opportunities, right? You know what I mean? I think for Buffalo to go deep into the playoffs this year, it's going to have to rely on a decent run game that's not Josh Allen, right? You know what I mean? Josh Allen can only do so much, and they have the weapons through the passing game. We know that. We know what they're capable of doing through the passing game, and we know what's capable of Josh Allen through the air, but not just that, but on the ground as well. But Josh Allen needs to have a reliable run game for this team to succeed down the stretch, and Singletary is that option. I think that you're right. Down the stretch, he looked pretty good. I was impressed with what we saw, and I think that's a strong possibility. But one thing to be very, 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 very excited about tonight is seeing Allen Robinson play with an actual NFL quarterback. This is going to be crazy. You know what I mean? Matthew Stafford to Allen Robinson connection. Could it be the ignition that we've wanted to see from Allen Robinson for 5 seasons now, at least for the last couple out there in Chicago? I'm pumped because you have an offense that's very versatile. You do have some question marks around the Rams run game. What's that going to look like? Will Henderson, Akers? I mean, I still see so many people beating the Akers horse, and it's like Akers looked terrible down the stretch after he came back from the injury, but maybe he's 100% healthy. But the biggest thing that we're looking at is what will Robinson look like in this offense opposite of Kupp, right? You know what I mean? We know it funnels through Kupp, so that should leave Robinson in that OBJ-style role that we saw down the stretch. And I'm excited because Allen Robinson's a very good receiver. He's got great hands, and to fit into this offense should be perfectly. I think that they're going to try to get him involved early and often, and I'm excited to see this pairing. What about you, Fox?
Yeah, same. I mean, for almost his entire career, we've waited for Allen Robinson to get paired with a quarterback that's not Blake Bortles or Mitch Trubisky. Last year I had some hopes that he'd vibe with Justin Fields, but didn't feel like it was a good situation with Matt Nagy there. Hard to do better than Matthew Stafford, who has had not one but 2 receivers on the all-time single-season receiver list. That's the kind of passer that he is. And what we saw in the end of the season and in the Super Bowl, I think, is a very good template. He's going to slide into that role OBJ was playing, and he was very fantasy relevant, and it did not take away from Cooper Kupp. There's no Van Jefferson tonight. I think there's still questions about the running game, probably a little bit of a split between Akers and Henderson. Tyler Higbee is what he is. There is no really challenging other receiver in there that's, adding to that pool. That's why the Rams are still interested in bringing OBJ back if they can. Tutu Atwell's not going to compete and take away targets from Allen Robinson. I think it's going to be those two guys, and it's going to be a big night tonight at home defending the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for me also as well, people forget that this Rams offense likes to funnel their passing game as a running game. You know what I mean? Like people forget that you can do that with these 2-3 yard passes that Kupp and Robinson are capable to making 5, 6, 7, 8 yard gains. It's not unfamiliar territory. Tom Brady has made a history of that. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a relevant run game all the time, but you know what I mean, to move the chains down the field. With that being said, Fox, who do you have tonight in the big game?
Well, if you listened to our show last week, I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. They're actually my pick for being Super Bowl champions. But tonight, I'm picking the Rams. Since 2004, we've seen the Super Bowl champion in all but 1 year when they did the Packers and Bears. And we've only seen a defending Super Bowl champion lose the kickoff game twice. Once was Eli Manning and the Giants in a weird Wednesday night game against the Cowboys. And once was the Baltimore Ravens, who had to open on the road against Peyton Manning in a record-setting Broncos offense. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think it favors the home team defending Super Bowl champion. There's always a lot of energy. I think the Rams pull it out.
Yeah, I'm on the Rams as well. This is actually what I had down as my Super Bowl preview. So, and I actually have the Bills winning the Super Bowl as well this year. So maybe it's one of those, we get an early taste of what's ahead with the Rams win, and we get the revenge game in the week one, game one, and the last game of the season. We're going to see some football.
For you, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, for me. I mean, my prediction. Yours is Bucks Bills, so it is what it is. But we both expect the Bills to be in the Super Bowl. So when the Bills miss the playoffs, we're sorry, guys. Like, we already apologize in advance.
I'm putting all that hate on the NFL Network, because it looked like every NFL Network analyst picked the Bills into the Super Bowl, and Rich Eisen actually picked Bills Bucks as well.
Oh man, I want to go redo my picks now. Bills are no longer. Ravens or Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl now. But with that being said, let's transition into another segment of our show. Matt. All right, Matt, what are your games of the week, my friend?
Yeah, so the Sunday early window game I'm going to highlight. Couldn't go anywhere else. It's Browns versus Panthers, and I know neither of these teams did we pick to be in the playoffs. But when Baker Mayfield comes out and says he's planning to F up his former team, I believe it's going to happen. I think this might be the Super Bowl for the Carolina Panthers. Matt Rule comes in on the hot seat. I think he gets a win in week one. The Sunday late afternoon, I'm going Raiders-Chargers. These two met in the final game of the regular season last year, with the Raiders pulling up that win, getting to the playoffs, knocking the Chargers out. I think we get a reversal in the opener here. The Chargers hold serve at home and begin their path to winning the AFC West. Really interested in the Sunday night game. It's a rematch of last year's opening kickoff game, the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. This time the Buccaneers are in Dallas. I can't quit you, Dallas. I'm waiting to see CeeDee Lamb and Dalton Schultz go off. I'll get to probably a little bit more on that when we look at sit starts, but I think that one's going to be a good one. My upset special, the Eagles are in town to play the Lions. I have the Eagles in the playoffs. I have the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I have Dan Campbell and the Hard Knock Hero Lions winning week one at home.
Well, I can already see that we're going to have one opposing conversation here later whenever we get to Ricky's bets a little bit later in the show. But it's time to transition to another segment of the show, our fantasy football start. All right, folks, each and every week we're going to share some guys that we're starting that are must starts and must sits. And Fox, I'm going to let you kick it off with your must starts.
So my starts this week, hold on, I dropped it off. My quarterback start, Russell Wilson. I think he is another guy who's going to go ham against a former team. I have him top 5 this week at quarterback. I'm playing him. I'm also in on J.K. Dobbins. I think he's been waiting all offseason to prove that he's ready to play. they're playing the Jets. I think it's going to be a good game for him. As I mentioned, I'm all in on Allen Robinson. I have him top 12 this week at wide receiver 11. I think he and Cooper Kupp are both going to finish as wide receiver ones. And then Dalton Schultz. Gallup's not back. James Washington is out. I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Schultz and Lamb. I really like Schultz as a tight end play this week.
Yeah, Schultz is going to have a huge game. My starts for the week are Trey Lance. I'm riding the pony. I like it. I would put him in your starting lineup this week. I just have a feeling. Antonio Gibson, who's been getting a lot of slander over the last month or whatever, his draft stock went downhill. I like him this week. I'm also in on Allen Robinson. He was in my must start of the week. My tight end of the week is Gerald Everett. I like him as a play this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm a huge fan of Gerald Everett. I think he's going to fit perfectly fine in this offense. I think the tight end has an opportunity of being premium. And Gerald Everett's actually pretty good. I think he's a pretty good tight end. I think that he has a chance to surprise some folks this year. I just never felt like he found his footing in with the Rams because he's always competing for some viable catches on that team. Transitioning over to the sits for me for this week, I've got 3 of them. I've got Kyler Murray at the quarterback position. The reason I'm going here, no nuke is concerning. And I also think that the Chiefs are just going to come out here and annihilate the Cardinals. For weeks, I had considered picking the Cardinals for an upset here. But the more I thought about it, the more I like Patrick Mahomes to go out here and just paint the Cardinals up and down this football field. And I feel like they're going to be playing from behind this entire game. For my running back, any Buccaneers running back, I don't want any of them. I want to see this offense because this offense could get, I don't know. I just have this weird feeling about the Bucs this year, and I don't like it with my Bucs shirt on and my Tom Brady here. But I hope it's not true because I really want to see the Bucs thrive. But I'm not in on any Buccaneers right now. And my sit was one of the ones that I saw on Matthew Fox's list, and I'm with you on this one. Is Gabe Davis. That's my wide receiver sit of the week. So, Fox, what are your sits, man?
Yeah, and what's interesting? I didn't realize how many week 1 underdogs I picked until I started picking against the spread. I actually picked the Bears over the 49ers, and I did pick the Cardinals over the Chiefs. Both those guys are technically underdogs. I had a lot of choices for my underdog game of the week. I just went with the one that I thought would get the biggest rise out of you, I guess. My sits this week, pretty simple. I'm sitting Jalen Hurts. I think he'll probably still be a strong QB2. So if you're in Superflex, that's fine. But I usually go by the standard of top 12. I don't think he's top 12 this week. I think the Lions are going to win, as I said. Travis Etienne is my running back sit. They said James Robinson is a full go. That is not great news for Etienne, who's going to be splitting touches in an offense that we've mentioned before is not a super run-heavy offense. Gabe Davis, I had him as a sit. I still think he'll be fine as a flex, but if you're talking about top 24, I'm not sure he gets there yet. I'm a little more cautious on him than some. The hype chain is a little out of control. And then my tight end sit is Mike Gesicki. There's question about targets, but also last year the Dolphins were 2-0 against the Patriots. In 2 games combined, Mike Gesicki saw 6 targets, catching 2 passes for 22 yards in 2 games combined. The Patriots are pretty good over the middle. They took Mike Gesicki out of it in both games last year, and that was before you factored in Tyreek Hill being heavily targeted, Waddle being out there, and whatever 27 running backs they managed to get involved, plus Cedric Wilson. So I'm out on Gesicki. I know that he's still got a trendy high ADP. A lot of people think he's a lock top 10 tight end. I think there's a good chance he finishes in that top end tight end 2 for the year. This week, I'd have him more of a mid-tier tight end, too. He did not fare well against the Patriots last year.
It's time to transition to my favorite segment of the week. Ricky's Bets of the Week, folks. I'm excited to bring this segment back to you because I am ready to make us some money. Even though Matthew Fox hates my first bet and he posed it, I am going with the Eagles -3 versus the Lions. I love this Eagles team this year way more than I thought that I would, and I don't understand why. I'm still on the fence of understanding why I have them going all the way to the NFC title game. So Eagles fans, if you're looking for somebody to blame if they don't make it to the title game or they don't even make the playoffs, look no further than me. But I like the Eagles week 1. I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing with Hurts, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. I think this is going to be a lopsided affair. I also like the Baltimore Ravens -7 versus the Jets. This is going to be an annihilation. I think that this game's going to be over at halftime. Lamar Jackson is going to prove consistently each and every week why they should have paid that man. And I look forward to him having that Joe Flacco-esque season that Flacco had whenever he was on a contract year and ended up getting paid because he won a Super Bowl. So with that being said, also a bonus tidbit there for you. The Ravens have covered the spread in 5 of their last 6 openers of the season. My prop bet of the week is Patrick Mahomes over 2.5 touchdown passes. I spoke about it earlier. Mahomes hit that number 8 straight games at the end of last year. I believe he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, especially in week 1 without Tyreek. Give me this. And we're getting it at +120. I love this bet a lot. Fox, any thoughts on anything other than the Eagles one?
Yeah, I'm all with you. I picked the Ravens against the spread too. I hope Joe Flacco enjoys getting out there and getting a start. I know he's still elite, but I just think even with no receivers, I'm in on the Ravens and their running game. I think it's going to be a good week for Dobbins. I think the Jets are still kind of building as a young team.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And folks, that's it for the football portion of the show. First off, we want to thank you guys for listening to this. We're getting ready to transition to Fox and I's other favorite portion of the show. Every segment is our favorite segment here, guys. I just want you to know that each week you're going to hear me talk about this is my favorite segment. All the segments are my favorite segments, just period, okay? But folks, if you have not been following along this NFL season, we're going to be cranking out articles left and right. I've got some betting articles. Fox has his weekly articles. We've got some other stuff coming, and I'm excited about it because we're live back each and every week on Thursdays. You can catch us here each and every week, and we're excited to bring the show back to you guys live. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, make sure to check out the show on Twitter, FF Happy Hour Pod, and make sure to follow Matthew Fox at Nighthawk7734 and myself at Ricky Valero _. But with that being said, we're going to transition to the movie corner. There's actually a lot more to talk about than I kind of expected this week for movies. Light week at the movie theaters, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of a light week. We do have the brand new film Barbarian, which I wasn't intending on checking out, but now with all the chitter chatter about the movie, I'm going to go probably see it tomorrow night. So I'm kind of excited now, which only means I could be let down because that's just actually what happened. Like last year, it's being touted as this year's Malignant, and I hated Malignant. So
as did I.
So it's like everybody's like, this is this year's Malignant. I'm like, is that a good thing? Because I hated Malignant. So but this week coming out, and a few things that we're going to talk about, we got Barbarian hitting theaters, Clerks 3 coming out, Pinocchio on Disney+, God's Country, and then, of course, we're going to wrap it up with some House of the Dragon thoughts.
Yeah, I guess God's Country actually opens next Friday. I got a little excited when I saw it come up.
Well, then we will not talk about God's Country today. We'll talk about it next week. But I saw Clerks 3. I really liked it.
It wouldn't take much to be better than Clerks 2.
Well, it's not. I mean, you're right. Clerks 2 wasn't that great, but I was a big fan of 3. I thought that what's crazy to me with this one is there's stupid humor in all this franchise. It just is. But I felt like we had a little bit more emotional beats than I kind of expected. And I thought Kevin Smith's screenplay was actually pretty solid. I think it's just if you're a fan of this franchise, there's some fun cameos in it that you'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's a huge nostalgia factor that I really loved about it, so I really liked it. Yeah, and then on the flip side, Pinocchio, the live-action remake that nobody asked for.
And aren't there 2 Pinocchio films coming out this year?
Yes. Now, this is the live-action version, and then Guillermo del Toro is bringing out one for Netflix later in the year, which I'm actually really excited about that one because Guillermo del Toro is pretty damn awesome. But I didn't hate this as much as everybody else did. Like, I've seen some half-star, 1-star people, okay? I didn't hate it that much. My expectation going into the film, 1 star, 100%. I was like, this is going to be terrible. Let's move on with my life. I didn't hate it, but also it's not great. Like, it was unneeded. I didn't need to see this movie. I didn't care. There's some cool visuals, and then other moments I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? Like, it was a blended bag of just garbage. So, yeah. And what else?
Hard to believe that the creative team behind your favorite movie of all time, Forrest Gump, let you down with this live action.
Shocker. Shocker.
Well, so Pinocchio dropped today because I keep forgetting it's Disney Plus Day. They randomly put it on like nobody has time for Disney Plus Day. It's the kickstart of the NFL. Pick a different day, friends.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had last Thursday, it would have been fine, but today, and they don't have a whole bunch of things unless you want another Cars series. I'm still trying to figure out why they have 3 films. I am excited about She-Hulk. I'm actually enjoying She-Hulk. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I've seen the first 4
style.
episodes. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed the first 4 episodes. Yeah.
What I wanted to chat about, since I know you're not going to see the Rings of Power, I believe you are watching House of the Dragon.
I am what that. Okay, I don't watch shows weekly. Okay, do not. That's not. I don't like watching shows. The Patient hit Hulu, right? And they're weirdly 22-minute episodes, which I don't. We'll talk about that some other time when I finish watching the show. But I have not watched it because I don't want to watch it weekly. I want to binge watch it all at once. I'm waiting till the season's over. I'm going to binge watch it then. Okay, but
House of Dragon, Thrones, or else you have to throw your phone away.
Exactly. First off, spoilers. You know what I mean? Twitter, you get on social. Don't even get on social media because while it's happening, you're getting play-by-plays what's going on. But my wife and I, the moment it drops on HBO Max at that 8 o'clock my time, we're pressing play. We count down the 7:59, 8 o'clock. You go from watching this episode, whatever trailer, to pressing play on the episode. We're in. We're in. We're all the way in, and I am loving it. It is incredible so far. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I thought the first episode was a little slow as they were setting up, but it's been stronger going in. I'm fascinated. I'm not sure the show wants you to think that Damon is a villain. People keep talking about him as one of the great villains, and I'm not sure that he's actually supposed to be a villain, which is what's a struggle. The fight sequences have been good. There haven't been as much dragons as I thought we were going to get. Probably the most deeply unsettling thing was that period in episode 2 where you were trying to buy into the king marrying a preteen. I was like, this feels like I'm participating in a crime by watching this.
Or that's insinuating that Rhaenyra is going to have to marry the baby.
Oh, her baby half brother. I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, damn, that's right. Reese fans. His character is all in on the awkward hookups. It's like, oh, the king's wife just died. Go comfort him, my teenage daughter. I'm like, no, not getting father of the year. Let me tell you that. What I'm waiting for though is we've known for a while that at some point in this season there has to be a substantive time jump because the one that's playing Rhaenyra and Alicent, they have other versions. Rachel Lee Cook, Olivia Cook
I love her.
Is Alicent
yeah
at some point, and there's another actress that we've seen interviewed that's Rhaenyra, so there must be some kind of substantial time jump that we just haven't hit yet. I was expecting like if you look at the credits before the season started, it listed those older versions as being in 9 episodes. It's a 10-episode season. We've seen 3. They haven't shown up. So I'm going to call BS on that. I guess they're just keeping us in the lurch. I'll be curious. It's already been picked up for season 2. Not shocking. I wanted to know how you felt. I can't describe the excitement when we kicked episode 2 on and you heard the Game of Thrones theme and saw that credit sequence. Like in the first episode, I was geeking out a few times. They have pieces of music, which I'm a big Ramin Djawadi fan, especially from Game of Thrones and actually the Westworld music. I know Westworld's plots may have gone off the deep end a little bit, but some of the music's still beautiful. So I have a bunch of his MP3s and I will sometimes put on a playlist, but they have the song, I believe it's actually titled Dragonstone, when the dragons are flying in with Daenerys in season 6 when she sees her home. They use cuts of that recut in the first episode. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's the music I know and love. But episode 2, when it just starts with the theme and the action theme, I wondering if they're going to do that now for every one of the series, because they have a couple more series. I'm excited to see Snow when it comes out, to see that series continue. But it'll be cool if they keep that theme song and just do a different action credits for each of them. I loved it.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. They did a really good job of putting us in this era, the feel of Game of Thrones, but not Game of Thrones at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it is, but it isn't type of thing. And I've really kind of enjoyed it. I'm gonna be sad when we get that change in characters, because Amelia Alcock has been incredible in that role. She's been so good. I've really loved her. But man, that last 10 minutes of Matt Smith this past week. I love the eerie walk that both characters did, that we saw from Daenerys and then we saw from Damian. It was great because you had her come back from killing that wild boar, and she's just covered in blood, and she's just walking like a badass. And then of course you have him who is walking with the whatever those things are, dragging that dead body.
And that's just the only thing I would say that is a little frustrating. They didn't really build up the crab feeder.
No.
You don't know anything about him. You don't even really understand why, other than a couple of sequences where he appears to be semi-crucifying people out on the water. And then to have him go so quickly, I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, it was like the building up for winter is coming, and then it was gone, and it was built up for 17 seasons only for it to disappear really fast.
He and the White Walkers are pointing at each other like the Spider-Man meme.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We lasted longer than you guys did. We got 7 episodes to build. You got like 2 episodes of small conversations and then died. But I've been a big fan of the season. I'm really excited because like I said, this is one that I am watching weekly. I'm very, very, very excited about it. Next week, before we go, next week The Woman King comes out. Very, very, very interested by that one. Viola Davis is gonna I love her. I think she's an incredible actress, and I'm excited to see what she has in store for us. The Woman King.
It's a big week next week. See how they run. The Woman King and God's Country all drop. Plus, it's Batman Day on the 17th, and I don't know about your theater, but ours has a bunch of retro Batman films. My wife's never seen Batman Returns. I told her it's not only a Batman film, but a Christmas film, so she's all in. We're going to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, because then on top of that, next week's the 16th, right?
Yep.
We've got Do Revenge dropping on Netflix. Goodnight Mommy is dropping on Prime Video. It's a big week for a lot of different movies. Also this weekend, I forgot this weekend is End of the Road, which is coming out on Netflix, starring Queen Latifah and Ludacris. I actually really like that. Can I say that out loud? I don't know if I can say that out loud. The embargo's tonight. Watch a movie. Nobody's going to see this, but yeah, I really enjoyed. They're not going to see NFL Week 1 and expect Ricky to be talking about End of the Road on Netflix. But if they are, sorry. But I really, watch it.
I don't think you'll get in trouble for giving a positive spin.
Yeah, exactly. If I would have said it's the worst movie I've ever seen, I'll be getting an email in a few minutes that says that. But yeah, that also comes out tomorrow on Netflix. So if you're listening tomorrow, it's already out, but it'll be out tonight at like 3 a.m. My review drops at some point tonight at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. But it's a pretty busy week. Oh, one more thing. I also watched the making of Thor: Love and Thunder. I have never watched any of those on Disney Plus before, and I actually really liked it. I thought it was fun. It was well made. I love Taika Waititi. I love Chris Hemsworth in this role. I still think he can't act, but I loved him in this role. But and I thought it was cool to see him behind the scenes and some of the making of it. Also, they got Christian Bale to do commentary on it, which I was even more excited because I love Christian Bale. I think he's one of the best actors ever, and I loved it as well. So I think that's all I've got for what's coming out this weekend. I'm pretty sure. Do you got anything else?
Go NFL.
Yes, excited. Weekend full of NFL. We hope that you join us each and every week. Like I said, if you're listening, we're doing this live show each and every week. You can find us on Thursdays. If not, obviously subscribe and listen to the podcast where we go. We're on our YouTube channel, so do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Make sure to follow Matthew Fox at Nighthawk7734. Follow myself, Ricky Valero. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.